speaker will be Chik, Corporate Vice President of the Identity Division at Microsoft. Troy, please welcome.
Thank you, Martin.
Thank you.
Good morning.
So you will need this?
Yes. Good morning. It is such a great honor for me to be here. This is actually my first time at the EIC, and I'm already impressed with all the great speakers so far. So today, I want to talk to you about digital transformation and how it is reshaping our world. It reorganizes our business so that we can connect more and more directly with our customers. So while this helps us to be more productive, efficient, and flexible, but it also introduces additional risks. So in other words, digital transformation, while it creates new opportunities, but it also adds additional challenges. So what we see is these are reflected in 5 key computing trends that is reshaping our lives, both at home and at work. So people on average have about 3 to 4 mobile devices. And for me, just by counting the number of devices connecting to my work, I probably have at least 7. And each has its own identity. We all use multiple social media accounts. I saw a lot of tweets about the EIC so far. And between LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, you name it, I can't hardly keep up myself. And I sign into each with a different identity. Increasingly, we use more and more cloud-based applications and services. Like at home, we connect with family through calendars or to-do lists. And at work, and more cloud-based storage are used very commonly. So more identities. So I talked about people on average use about 3 to 4 mobile devices. But if you factor in the IoT devices, the number probably increased by at least 10-fold. So for me, at home, if I just count the number of smart lights, thermostats, cameras, or entertainment devices, or my wearables, I might get to like 50. And I bet some of you in the audience may even have 100, if not more. And at work, there's so many different connected sensors at our workplace, and each has an identity. We all know that a cyber attack has now become a professional industry, and even sponsored by nation state. And what is the most effective tactic that attackers use? Stolen identity and credentials. So what all these computing trends have in common is that they each introduces multiple identities. Identity is the common layer across all these trends. So as these computing trends are creating a huge wave of disruption, with the right approach, you can ride the wave and rise above it. And businesses that embraces digital transformation, they can survive and thrive. It is just an economic imperative. And a business do not provide a digital experiences for your customers, you simply will not survive. So as I was thinking about this talk, kind of nervously on my way to EIC, so I'm thinking about what are some of the examples of that digital transformation that really impacted my journey here. I made a reservation for my hotel and a flight online. And I pre-checked in my luggage and to my flight through electronic boarding pass on my phone. At the airport, I only need to use an app to request a car to get to the hotel. And before I got to the hotel, I already signed into the hotel's website and create a personal profile so that I can personalize the room the way I want it. And at the hotel, I only need to check in using my phone. Even though it's morning, I'm already thinking about dinner. So before I got here, I used Open Table to make a dinner reservation. I don't have to buy a map anymore. I only need to download an app on my phone. And on the way here, it points out all the historical sites along the way for my journey to this hotel. So I think this sounds familiar. More and more that we like to do businesses with companies that are going through the digital transformation. It just makes our lives so much easier. But there's a problem, because each of these services use a different identity. So as you probably could imagine, as a head of identity at Microsoft, this got me pretty irritated, that I have to use multiple identities each time, but at least I did not use the same password. I don't think I want to manage all these different identities, right? And I don't think either you or your customer want that either. So some of the businesses really put the digital experience at the core of their businesses. They don't just do digital transformation to drive down cost. They really use it to engage and to serve customers in a new way. So think about Uber and Lyft connecting their passengers directly to the drivers through the mobile phone. And Spotify and Netflix connecting customers directly to the digital libraries. They also personalize these experiences. Like Uber knows the drivers you want to block. Spotify knows the music you like. And then Netflix recommends the movies that based on your preferences and your viewing history. So what the common is identity is at the very core of all these successful businesses. And these are the kind of experiences you want to provide to your customers as well as your employees. With the right approach, you can connect all the different services to each other and to the shared customers to create an even better experience. So how do we do this? You need a holistic and integrated identity system. It starts with identity as a common layer. It connects people, processes, and things so that it can facilitate an organizational governance model and securing data for your company and your customers. And it must embrace open standards so that we can connect all the different identities systems together. So let us walk through each. So companies undergoing digital transformation are connecting more and more entities to their corporate network. And this includes the entities that do not managed by the company directly. So on average, a corporate network is accessed by at least 89 vendors every single week. And by 2020, the number of IoT devices is expected to surpass 30 billion. So to manage all these identities at such large scale, it can be daunting without a right approach. Many of you have direct identity-based relationship with your employees and devices. But what about your customers, your partners, distributors, suppliers? What about your IoT devices? Identity should be at the very core, the center of all these relationships. And we think with a holistic identity platform, you can create all these relationships across boundaries so that you can have the flexibility as well as the control to manage all these entities that's coming to your business. So an entity carries an identity and its associated context, like the location of the user, the status of a device, or the document permission. So as an example, let's say Alice wants to share some customer information with Bob. Alice is connected from Seattle, that's where I'm from, and her laptop is managed by her organization, and it's healthy. So Alice is able to connect to Salesforce or OneDrive through single sign-on, which is provisioned to her. And Bob, on the other hand, is signed in from Dublin, where he lives, using a healthy laptop, so he's able to access the same customer information. But Bob just returned from a trip from Asia, where his phone was stolen. So somebody from China got Bob's phone, is trying to access the customer information. But the system detects the anomaly here, where he is already signed in from Dublin while trying to sign in from China. So the access from China is denied. So as you could imagine, this is just a simple example involving a few nodes, 2 users, 2 applications, and 3 devices. But if you could imagine the number of connected nodes that reaches tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions, without an intelligent identity system, this is unmanageable at scale. So to govern all these relationships at scale, we need a governance model that is based on a trusted identity platform and a use policy-based approach. At Microsoft, we use about 65 access control policies, and we create over 100 custom reports every single month for auditing and compliance. So just think about it. Each of your business have very unique industry requirements, while you also need to meet your business needs. And to achieve that, you must need a governance model that is flexible. And you have to keep the promises around data privacy. This includes the promises you made for both your employees as well as the customers about how the data is stored and it's being used. And to comply with government regulations such as GDPR. At Microsoft, data privacy is our top priority. And no matter how many checks and balances that you have put in place, you are always at risk and constantly under attack. Last month at Microsoft, we see that all the enterprises' account logins, there are 23 million, were marked at high risk due to phishing or other attack. So with this sheer volume of attack, in order to prevent any compromises, you must need a system that is continuously monitoring both the normal and abnormal behavior and across broad set of signals, and apply machine learning so that you can do the real-time detection and automate the responses. At Microsoft, we get over 10 terabytes of signals every single day. It is just so important for us to stay ahead of this escalating pattern of attack. We all remember WannaCry. As I watched the attack unfold with my team, the scale is so massive and the damage is worldwide. So people talked a lot about the economic impact, but the human lives were at stake. So security impacts our businesses, but to me, more importantly, security is our moral responsibility. And when we say a holistic and integrated identity system, it does not mean single vendor. It means a platform that is designed with integration. And to do that, we must embrace open standards. And this is our approach. Microsoft is an active member of the open standards community. So some of my team members, like Kim Cameron, who spoke yesterday, Daniel Buckner, Mike Jones, Pamela Dingle, and Tony Nadlin are some of the active members of the open standards community. And along with Alex Simons and Alex Weiner, they will be sharing more information in their sessions later this week. So we talked about the 5 key attributes to a holistic and integrated identity system. It starts with identity as a common layer, and it connects people, processes, and things, so that it must support a comprehensive organizational governance and an intelligent security system. And then last but not least, it needs to embrace open standards in order to allow for integration. So why do we need all this? Remember, we talked about the key computing trends that are creating a huge wave of disruption. We believe organizations that embraces this holistic and integrated identity approach can rise with the wave and thrive it. So, are you ready? Because we want to work with you to make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you for that insightful and highly interesting presentation. So let's have a look at the questions. I saw that we already have at least 2 in there. And I think the first one is a quite interesting one. So simply put, regulation and law follow reality with some distance always. What is your take on that?
Yeah, so, as we are gone through the GDPR processes, and, as an engineer myself, one of the things we actually learned is GDPR actually is a great thing for the industry because it really helps the industry to be more disciplined and to inventory how we are actually store the data and how we use the data so that we can actually serve our customers in a much better way. So I think it really depends, but it can be a really good thing for our customers as well.
So I think with GDPR, we maybe have the situation that regulations is somewhat ahead of it in contrast to most other scenarios. But I think you're right. The first question right now on top of the list, if you haven't been through a major security incident, how do you sell the identity story to the executives? So yes, if you had the incident, it's easier.
Well, each time I answer, I always knock on wood and hope that's wood. We have, like 10 terabytes of signals every day. And we've gone through 18 billion transactions of authentication every single day, both for commercial and consumer identity. And it's not for faint of heart. And we absolutely have gone through with our customers in terms of the major attacks that have gone through with them. So we've gone through a lot of those journeys and a lot of the learnings. And one of the things that we do is share our learnings in terms of how we hardening our services with our customers. So to me, it is an ongoing journey. It is not by going through one major or not. It's a continuous learning and iterating.
Yeah. And I think it's also easier these days because most of the CEOs have well understood that cybersecurity is a threat to their businesses.
Yeah.
So when I go back a couple of years, it was a totally different thing than it is today because everyone is scared for a good reason because either you know that you're attacked or you don't know, but you are attacked.
Everybody's under attack, and it's about recognizing the pattern.
Maybe a short answer to the question, which is right now on the top. Are you planning to release some identity wallet inside the Windows OS?
Well, I think we all understand. I think your talk about blockchain is how we think about actually a digital wallet, right? I think to us, how we think about our customers using identity as a vehicle so that we can connect to different services, and this is definitely top of our mind.
Okay, great. So thank you very much again
Thank you so
for
much.
the insightful talk and the Q&A.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank you.
Martin.
I need
Thanks.
the
Oh.